Alright folks, this video we're going to install the i5 10600K into this Aorus Elite AC Z490 motherboard. We're also going to put this Noctua 140mm single tower CPU cooler on it. Alright, so I'm in Africa where it's freaking hot and we do not really have to worry about electrostatic issues. Those of you in the cold states of the U.S., you might be a little concerned about it, even in Florida these days. So, of course, you're watching this summertime, probably not an issue, but make sure you gear up properly. In my case, though, I haven't sensed any electrostatic energy, and so we're going to go for it. Now, this CPU only goes in one way, alright? There are some notches that you will see on the motherboard, on the CPU in the green there, part of the green board. Two cutouts. They're going to line up with a couple protrusions on your motherboard. Other things to watch out for, really, in case you're unsure of things. There's a triangle right here. That's going to line up with this little triangle on your CPU. So, all kinds of different ways you can check to make sure you're putting this in correctly beforehand. One, if you have this orientation, most likely with your I/O shield to the left, text is going to read from left to right. Alright, so a couple different ways. Now we're going to drop this in here gently, okay? We don't want to drop it like a rock. And then we're going to take a look at it before we drop the hammer on it, basically. Looks like it's in there. You do want to make sure it's seated, which it appears to be. So once we do that, we can now drop this down, okay? Rock that into place, and boom. So usually the plastic piece does not fall in the way. And in this case it did. And then we put that down there, okay? So you're going to want to put this in your box. Hold on to that. Hold on to this thing as well. Put that in your box, or put it back with the CPU. Now, so pretty simple there. Next, we're going to put in the base plate that goes with the CPU cooler. All right, get that into position. Here's our base plate. It's basically going to fit underneath this, okay? So you see there's 4 holes there. It's going to drop down, and that's how we're going to position it. This is what it's going to look like from the back side. It can only go in one way, okay? See that cutout to avoid that screw there, or that fastener. So once we do that, we then drop these plastic spacers, I believe they are. They might be hard rubber, but I'm pretty sure it's plastic. That drops down on top of that. Then these guys drop in. So important that you realize how this goes in there. You could put this in 180 degrees to this, which would be the wrong orientation. All right. The reason this has to go in like this is when you take your CPU cooler, you want it to line up like this, okay? See where these fasteners are? They're going to line up. And so pretty simple to do that. Then we're going to come in and put these thumb screws down. We'll tighten those into position. And after that, we are going to put thermal paste on. So if I didn't have one hand full with the camera, I could bang this out pretty good, pretty quickly. One of the nice things about this model, this is actually one of my favorite CPU coolers. Now there's the there are some models that are quicker to install, but they're not good for a CPU like the one we've got here that's overclockable. Alright, so I've got that in place. Now I can get thermal paste out. Alright, so normally I would use Noctua thermal paste with my Noctua CPU cooler. I've got some on order. This takes forever to get here to good old Africa, and instead we're going to have to use this other stuff from Be Quiet. Now, about 4mm in diameter is the suggestion that you put down. Once you do that, then this guy is ready to put down, be put in. You want to line these up, hopefully on a flat surface. I'm at a slight angle on this bed. Then you're going to tighten these down. Alright, so we've got them in here. We'll tighten this down, as well as the other side. Alright, so now we're going to put our CPU cooler fan on here, and you want to put these brackets on here in the orientation I have it, and this fan is going to go on this way. Okay, so it's going to push cool air across the CPU tower. Alright, so that's going to lock in place like that. Then the final step is to put this in place right here, so it's got power, and boom, we're done.